everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the PodCAS, an unofficial IB podcast made by IB students for IB students and other people alike. And today we have our fellow classmate, Nathan. Nathan, introduce yourself, man.
Hello, I'm Nathan.
Yes.
This is my first time doing this. Give me a break.
All right.
I'm an IB diploma student as well. I'm in my second year and really excited to be here.
Even after hearing him say converse like 4 times in a row there.
You've
been in this room for like 2
really
minutes.
strongly don't try to judge.
You really strongly don't.
Despite how much I know the person, like 7 years now, I still get to know a person as much as possible.
Hey, every person has their own speaking style, man. That's how commentary is unique between podcasts. You know?
When half of your vocabulary is just you trying to imitate. No, whatever. Let's move on from this point. We're here to talk about the IB, all the topics related to it. Just essentially have conversation, ask you, whatever.
Good, and I'll set a timer to how long it takes until we start complaining about the IB diploma.
Anyways, we're nearing the end of the IB session, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. And I only started feeling it like last week. Last week we turned in the E's.
You're feeling it.
Yeah, by feeling it, I mean like the weight off your shoulders, but also like the end is coming, like and not the fear kind, like not the exams are coming. I'm scared of the exams.
A bittersweet kind of end is coming.
Not bittersweet. No, I'm looking forward to the end. I've enjoyed the journey. I'm not gonna say I didn't enjoy the journey. It was a wonderful journey. But I am looking for. I'm really hopeful that I get
beside you. Best kind of journey.
I'm really looking forward to that July 7th date when I get to see I passed with a good enough score.
Yay!
So, yeah.
I mean,
Hope it is within my reach.
certainly, it's like turning in all these IAs. It feels like you just like climb up the mountain, and then you realize there's like another path in front of you. That's the exams. Except for some country, that's it. Of course, with the dual route the IB is taking, some countries have exams, some countries don't have exams.
I really don't know how to feel about that. Like I'm still a bit conflicted. Like how are they? Of course, the main issue is like how they're going to standardize. Right?
Oh yes, that's
Not
definitely
just-
a real issue.
It's unfair.
Of course, at this point, it's already not standardized for different years, for different graduating classes. But even for this class, how are you going to standardize? People have been in varying life conditions for so long now. People are still in quarantine. People have already been out for a few months, out in schools. And I kind of sympathize with the IB. It's challenging. It's challenging to maintain that level of academic while also being sympathetic towards all their candidates.
I mean, like, I certainly feel like no matter what choices the IB make, there's gonna be at least, a group of people that's gonna argue it. Let's say everyone's doing exams. People who have been stuck in quarantine and have been getting that level of education that they want, they're going to, be against it because they didn't learn anything. And if they go no exam, there's gonna be people who study very hard, or who are maybe in a more fortunate situation, like our country. Like we didn't went to online school, but like not
It only went there
not that much as many of the other countries as
like 4
we've
months
seen.
of online school.
Yeah, around
and our
4
school
months.
handled it well. Like
Yes.
I think our school really helped us to continue learning. And yes, it was more challenging. Yes, we had to put in a lot more effort. But I think overall, like when we came back, we sort of compensated for it. Of course, the IB changed the requirements for the exams a bit, changed the requirements like no group 4 project, that kind of stuff. I think that definitely helped out, but I think the school did.
Those are great changes of
Yeah.
decreasing quantity of stuff that you have to learn.
Yeah,
But-
and
For online learning, at least. Actually, go ahead.
yeah, and like definitely as I've said, like if the IB were to cancel all the exams, keep in mind that different people have different areas they excel in. Some people may excel in long projects like the IA, while some others may excel in taking an exam. And maybe people who have invested so much time in studying the content are like, what am I going to do now with this content? I'm done with my IAs. Do I just wait around and do nothing? There's no exam. Do I even study? Do I even pay attention in class anymore?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
that's
wonder
a real
what-
concern.
Yeah, I wonder what the graduates from last year did during this time. I mean, at this point they knew for sure, right? That
Yeah.
no
Oh
exams.
man, definitely. That would be an interesting
Like,
guest to bring up on the next episode of the podcast.
Just to hear the thoughts on it. But
yeah.
I'm gonna bring up a pretty meaty topic about the concept of online learning. But do you think it's kind of related to this Asian culture that all of us are in, like the self-sufficient, self-studying culture compared to those in America, where like it's more reliant on conversations and a direct teacher approach, I suppose?
You know, I've always struggled to be that self-sufficient learner. There was a time when I could be, and then I realized it was because I had my parents like right beside me. They weren't so much as forcing. My parents were very, very you know, comforting in my education. Luckily, I was a good enough student that they didn't lose their patience with me at any time. But yeah, I've always struggled to be self-sufficient purely because like just, you know, reading textbooks endlessly never helped me much. I couldn't internalize it, and so I needed that teacher touch. Yeah, weird name, but the teacher touch. No, I shouldn't call it that. The
Teacher experience.
That's teacher.
Yeah,
the flourish.
In-person experience.
Yes, the
Human interaction.
The interaction with
Not
the teacher,
teacher
the
touch.
in-class environment. That I think helps me learn the most. I think maybe I'm a more practical learner. I've been told I'm a more visual learner, I guess, and things like that help me out more as like studying strategies. So especially during that quarantine time, like you mentioned, during the online learning time, it was, I think, important more to reach out. So
Important than-
because I was not as self-sufficient as maybe other Asian American students, as you mentioned, I had to reach out to the teacher for help or for extra material maybe to practice, and then then it was just a matter of dedicating yourself to it, which itself is another thing where you just don't get bored and you don't lose hope. You just have to keep working at it. That's something I think the IB, like that part of self-sufficiency is something I think the IB really helps you with internalize, like ingrain in you that. Sorry, I did that. But yeah. I'm grinding a masala. No, I think that's shown most during my EE work, like
EE work?
yeah, because I think that's the most self-sufficient thing of the IB, right? Oh, sorry, self-supported.
Yeah, self.
I mean,
I don't-
CAD is also a big part of
Yeah.
self-sustaining yourself
Doing it yourself.
throughout it, isn't it?
Yeah, but
no,
you have the
academic wise,
you have
academic wise.
Yeah, I guess academic wise, the EE was for me it was most independent. Yeah. Would you feel the same? Like the EE was the EE like really independent for you, or was it more collaborative? I don't know. Like, does it vary across subjects and stuff?
I'd argue. No, I'd agree. It's very, very independent. But the fact that you have an advisor that's able to sort of direct your approach in certain ways, it's not like a completely independent thing. Even in that sense, like you still have to communicate to your advisor. I've been asking my advisor during my EE process. I asked her a ton of questions over time, and she's managed to support me there throughout the whole way.
That is another thing I lacked. Like originally, maybe I mentioned that you're supposed to reach out and stuff, but originally even I struggled to reach out to like teachers. I was scared that they're gonna get pissed.
Teachers.
I've always had a fear of teachers. I probably still do. Like a little bit. I fear teachers. Maybe that's just like because I came from a public Indian school where they need to have a little bit of fear in order to control that many students at one time. But yeah, even now I don't want to piss off a teacher at all. I try to keep the teacher on my side.
I remember the times in middle school. I believe you were there, right? We had one of our science teacher in 8th grade where we would try our hardest not not to piss her off, because she would get pretty
It was quite hard too, because you never knew what the next day would bring.
I would say she's very pretty vocal about her opinions on our behavior in class.
She was very
I would say so.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I think the
Teacher
she was known for like preparing students for high school,
Yes,
right? And I think she did a good job of that. In fact, maybe too good of it.
She made going to high school sound like you're about to go fight a war.
Yeah.
You're gonna fly me over to like Korea.
And then the big crew just came in with a bunch of cookies, like, here, no, we're not
it's
gonna go
all fine.
to war. We're just gonna chill, and learn.
she made us prepare for our 9th grade math teacher.
She did.
That is true.
She's like,
That is
good
true.
luck, students.
Yeah.
But it does emphasize the importance of the teacher-student experience, right?
Yeah, and the fact that teachers are different. Some teachers are different. You have to be, you interact differently with different teachers. You handle your communication with different teachers in a different manner, and you have to just learn. You have to learn as quickly as possible how to best adapt to their learning, their teaching strategy.
Here's a good thought or question. Have you guys ever had just like casual conversations with your like teachers sometimes?
Yes.
Yes, but not all of them. Not all of them, I'd say.
Not all of them, but there's certainly some that I can genuinely have conversations with.
Definitely, like I've had some really, not intimate, but like personal conversations.
Teacher, no.
Insightful. Another good I word.
Insightful always. Like in class, I think our teachers are very insightful about like the content that we're learning. But I mean, like, the personal conversations. Whenever there's maybe like an event going on at school, they will discuss like their past and how the events they had. I speak specifically of our English teacher. He's very the chillest person on
He's a
campus.
very, very chill guy.
Yeah, but he's very, very like educated and
yes,
really
yes.
knows what he's talking about. So it's like the perfect blend. Like he mixes education like seamlessly into this awesome interaction between teachers.
It
Between
doesn't
teacher
make
and
you feel like
student.
overbearing that he's trying
Yes.
to just direct your approach.
Yeah, the content doesn't feel so heavily pushed onto you as it is just being slowly guided into it, and you just become accustomed to learning and then applying it to your tests and your other assessments.
But with so much leeway, doesn't that also kind of bring up an issue as well?
Yes, and I think he faced it this year where students like misused his understanding at times.
Misused understanding. What
Yeah.
does that mean?
Like deadlines became hazy and things like that where students didn't respect his
Deadlines
understanding.
Like, what are deadlines for? I'm going to set them or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that challenged him, and it was wrong of us the way we handled it. So I think that was a learning experience for us.
You really think it's a bad thing though to have like an overbearing teacher that directs your approach? I wouldn't say our chemistry teacher is like that, but she seems very strict and tries to follow this like schedule each class that we go to.
You know what? I love that.
I
don't
love
know.
that approach too.
I love that approach because I've had teachers that don't really exactly plan everything, and it's a mess, especially when you have such a giant syllabus like the IB. And I'm talking an HL class, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, forget for a second that the core was there, but you had the group 4 project in there, you had the option,
right.
and then the paper 3, the stuff that wasn't there. I can't imagine doing that all right now. Right now, when we're done, we just finished with content, right?
Yeah.
We've just begun review.
Reviewing.
This time we would still be learning, and I would be panicking because like exams are coming in less than 2 months now,
7
and
weeks.
we're not done with
7
content.
weeks.
Oh, don't give. Let me just say 2 months.
7 weeks is a lot.
7 weeks is not a long time to cover 2 years of content
No,
with
no.
6 different subjects.
But let me put things in perspective to you guys. Remember the December exam from last year, where your teachers gave you, I don't know, I had a week to prepare for a year and a half worth of content in a
That
week.
is true. And those went okay.
And that went okay. And
Yeah.
that actually went really fine,
Yeah.
I'd be honest.
Yeah. Went
So,
really fine on my part.
We have 7 weeks or so, and we just start preparing now. I feel there's no reason we should be panicking.
Yeah, that's the good part, and kind of maybe the benefit of COVID. Not to say there's any benefit of COVID. Not to say there's
Upside,
but
Hot take right there.
I'll take
Yeah.
benefits of COVID.
I didn't want to put it that way, but yeah.
But keep in mind also, I have heard from a few other classes, one of them being a class I'm in, being math, that we're still not done with the
Oh
syllabus.
yeah, we're still not done.
You do realize that I would say that of course the word exam is going to be harder than a internal school exam, of course, but I don't know, I just feel like 7 weeks is shorter than people think it to be.
But in 7 weeks, we also have to take into account the time span between one exam and the other, right?
Time span?
Because we might have like a week to prepare for another exam after studying.
I think I have like
I think-
maximum 5 days between
Yeah,
exams.
maximum 45 days. But
Oh,
Yeah. But
and also again, December exam is one exam. The word exam you have like 3 papers each or
Yeah.
something,
yep.
unless they're cut off or
yeah,
something.
good point. I think the main thing is don't let it sneak up on you, right?
Yep. Don't let it sneak
Don't
up
let
on
it
you.
sneak up on you, because
Yeah.
then you start to panic and it just gets bad. Then you're not like, even learning at that point. You're just like reading text and saying, "Did I get that one in my head yet?" And then you look away and like, "No, I didn't." And
Out of curiosity,
sorry, go on.
When are you guys going to start reviewing at least?
For
Really?
Review-
exams?
review.
I've already begun reviewing in
Yeah.
most of my classes.
Most of your classes.
Yeah.
True,
Yeah.
true. Same here.
And
I mean-
and the good thing was like once semester 2 started, even after, even though we were still doing content, we would like during assessments put other topic stuff into our assessments.
Mhm.
Right, it's a good thing. I think just keeping the other content fresh.
Question reminder.
I mean, you must have gotten some like in-class review from some classes that have been finished with the syllabus, right? Like, like for example, my syllabus with business and economics is already done. So basically, for the rest of the year, we just basically in business every time we just do like a 10-question worksheet, and economics we just go through the syllabus again. I mean,
Now like for example in chemistry now we are going topic by topic again. Like
That's
just
again back in.
like students are assigned, a pair of students are assigned a topic because we have like 20 topics.
Mhm.
So a pair of students are assigned each topic, and then they have to come in on one day and present that entire topic for that day, and then the other students take notes, and then the cycle goes with different students presenting until all topics are done.
Interestingly though, I feel chemistry is actually one of the easiest topics to review for, classes to review for, because everything is so connected to each other.
oh yeah, like atom bonds, am I right?
No atom bonds like that, no. But think about stoichiometry, for example. That's how
Yeah.
Stoic
Yeah.
what?
You're going to be using stoichiometry in almost every aspect of chemistry. Right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's why I think it's topic 1, right?
And it's easy to not lose the skill when you're doing it over and over and over.
Mm.
Something like that.
And speaking from and business students, I have no idea what they're talking about. Anyhow, speaking of reviews, exam leave. Oh, man.
I
so what
don't think we'll have this year.
I know our advisor is trying to argue for it, but whether or not it's happening, it's still up.
I mean,
I don't know if I want exam leave.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like if there's no exam leave,
we'd still be fine.
and
Like-
if there's no exam leave, but our teachers, we still go to class with our teachers, and our teachers, help us review. I honestly feel like, at least for me personally, I would gain more benefits from review with teachers than trying to go through questions myself.
Exactly. Yeah. So I like I said before, right? I struggle with the independent learning to a certain extent. So I need that teacher interaction that I've always not depended on, but it has been a helpful asset in doing well on my assessments.
I mean, say that's for all your classes though? All your classes where you prefer to just come to school and have that self-studying and have that teacher interaction, or are there some classes where you just really would appreciate the time at home instead?
You know what? For math, I would say I would go to the teacher because I want more practice problems or something, or because I absolutely don't know where to go, what direction to go in with this problem. You know what I mean? Like you ever just looked at
when
like
you run out into the problem.
you just look at an equation like
Like
where
I'm
do
studying a
I
new syllabus. Like where did this thing come from?
I've learned all these strategies, but none of them seem to apply here.
When
And
did I
then-
learn this question? When did I learn this topic?
They learn how
Wait,
to-
what is this question even asking? I don't know. And with other subjects, maybe English. I think you can. It's more by yourself. But then they would need, but whatever work you do, like practice papers, would be needed to be assessed by the teacher. You know, to see the standards, because the standards are hard to see for an English student to see where they're at.
I mean, question: would you like greatly prefer like teacher interaction for like reviewings and stuff? Or am I correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you think like taking not exactly taking notes, but the process of review by just reading through notes is like not for you, or a little bit overrated compared to other methods?
Do you mean taking notes or reading through notes?
Just reading,
do textbooks count too?
reading through notes. Reading your textbooks. Like when I start chapter 1, I better read all this on this page.
Oh, all of this on this page. I think it's more the skimming part.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean,
no one can
You get what
read
I'm
all
saying.
those
You get what
pages
I'm
and
saying.
I get what you're saying.
yeah. I couldn't read all those pages and then make sense or have it make sense in my head because there's just so much. But the general idea is what I try to go for in books. And if there's something that doesn't make sense, and I'm supposed to know it quite well, and I'd go to the teacher, of course.
I'd say it's actually different for me. I much prefer the reading
The
through a
reading
textbook,
notes?
aspects, learning than something more interactive with another person. Well, how I study at least is just I try to visualize all of it in my head. Just get a clear picture, maybe a sort of narrative that I can call up.
Yeah.
Like everything that flows sequentially and like logically.
I think that works best for psychology, right? Like the whole
It does, it
narrative.
does. And
Like,
definitely for biology as well.
Yeah,
Certain processes.
I think that's how the answers work. The way you give your answers, right? It's like almost a story you're
Just
giving.
seeing a story in your head and
psychology.
recalling it.
Yeah.
That's basically what it feels like to me. And so reading the textbook, reading through certain notes that I find, and just digesting it all into things that you yourself know, I'd say it's a very valuable way to practice. Like accompanying that with like hands-on practice of doing like practice papers, practice examples. Like that's how I've been managing to go by in my classes.
Do you ever go back to the notes you've written and like review them?
I don't take notes. There we go.
I mean, same for me. I honestly, the main reason I don't take notes is because I'm not really good at concentrating between two things at the same time.
Yeah, that
Like-
Neither am I. I have to
like-
put my complete focus on the teacher.
Like sure, like let's say like the teacher says something about one topic, I'll write, okay, topic 1, teacher talked about this. And when my ears started processing information again, the teacher's like, okay, class, this is topic 5. And I'm like, what happened to topic 3 to 4? 2 to 4.
just
trying to perfect your
What
handwriting
happened?
for this
What
one
happened?
sentence.
Exactly with that, because I don't know why, but I like to be, pretty organized. I like to sometimes have neat handwriting because I used to have a pretty horrific handwriting, and I would try to go read my notes back, and I would be like, who wrote this? And I'm like, oh wait, I wrote this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people who have like less than optimal handwriting can probably relate to the struggle.
But what do you guys think of that old? I don't know if it's even old, but that thinking that when you physically write what you see or what you're learning, you internalize it better. Like, wasn't that like some kind of teaching that was told to us? And then when I first came into the IB, you have all these IB advice videos, and you decide to stumble on one, and one, like a lot of them would say you don't need to take notes. Taking notes is a giant waste of time because these books do it. The books do it well. They've got clear, well structured notes, and I don't know if that was for me. I really like taking notes because I was able to internalize it. Like for example, if I'm thinking of some material, for some reason, I'm able to visualize the notes itself, not the textbook. I can see the notes.
Not really the textbook.
Yeah. Like I remember, especially during during quarantine, when you need to prove you're taking notes, you have to take a bunch of notes, like take a picture and put it on a document and send a teacher like, oh, I was paying attention. I was.
Paying attention.
I was.
Quote unquote.
But like I think back now to the material from during quarantine, and I don't so much as remember like the interactions we had online or like the presentations that would just go by so quickly and were hazy, but as I remember the notes more. Like I don't know, complex language.
You say taking notes, right? That's the important part. But I don't think you need to take notes. But the writing things down part of it, the writing things down part of taking notes is what's important. You can write things down but not take notes. Like afterwards, once you finish doing like an initial review, you just grab a practice question and do your own writing down there. And I feel it's that writing aspect that's constant between notes and doing this deliberate practice, which is important to it, rather than the idea of taking notes itself. Would you sort of agree? That's how I frame it in my perspective, at least.
The act of writing notes.
The act of writing. Oh, writing notes.
I don't know how to feel about that because I've never taken notes without not reviewing them later.
You've never taken notes about reviewing them later?
Not maybe without leaving them aside. So usually when I take notes, what happens is I try to take things down that I know won't be in the textbook, right? Like explanations for stuff that usually confuse me, and the teacher explains it, right? But it's not in the textbook. I know I won't find it later, or I won't be able to understand it from the textbook later. I try to take that stuff, so I know that I need to go back to that to understand maybe some trick question comes on the IB because for some reason the IB likes trick questions. One of the questions from the chemistry exam. I don't want to quote a question, but they were asking about how the ammonia was produced or something for the Haber process, and all of a sudden they come out, how did this impact the trade costs of ammonia? How am I supposed to know? Where did the economics come into this? Right? No, not trade cost, the transport cost. It was the transport cost
of ammonia.
Yeah, what would happen to the transport cost? I honestly did not know, and I was just wondering. They talk about critical thinking, talk about making connections between different areas of knowledge and stuff. Sorry, I'm getting TOK here, but I couldn't see any possible way for me to get from ammonia to transport costs. Maybe I'm just not.
They're trying to teach a new way of knowing.
People talking about supply.
Maybe it's intuition. It just comes to you. The
supply and demand for ammonia is skyrocketing.
They just cut off one section off the econs exam, just stapled it to the chemistry exam.
Oh man. I mean, I feel like it's just all these tips and tricks, videos, advice that people give. It's honestly more anecdotal than actually being general. Because of course, it's impossible to generalize everyone into a single person. You put 50 students on one class. You have a teacher who's very textbook heavy. You read notes from the textbook, do presentation on the textbook. There's going to be students who excel, students who don't, and just the median, I don't know, binomial distribution, something of how well people do.
And he's precisely right for a program like the IB that is structured personal. You're meant to implement your own self into all your work. Whereas in public school, it's just everyone does the same thing, and whoever can come out on the top of that stuff, we can take it. Because the competition is that much, there's just that many people. They can't keep it personalized for everyone. It'd be hard to standardize at that point.
It's also expensive for public school.
Yeah.
Not to mention the cost.
Wait. What class that you're taking right now has the most people? Which IB class?
Oh, maybe chemistry.
TOK.
No, you mean IB subject class, right?
It is IB subject class.
My Spanish is 5. Math has 6. I think English has 9. I think my physics has 3. I think my
This
chemistry
is
has
the
the.
third wasteland that you're just describing right now.
I think my chemistry has the most, maybe around 10 or 12.
But that's 10 and 12.
And this is not as much as my business class. You have like 20.
Jeez.
You have 21 in business HR. I know.
21 people
Yeah.
doing business HR.
Seriously?
And that's
a lot.
only HL. Not to mention if we were to count SL is like additional like 10 or something.
There's a lot of IAs to grade for one
Yeah.
teacher. Like, goodness me.
Oh my, and the same teacher who teaches business is also responsible for like IB economics and AP micro and macro.
Here we go.
I just cannot believe.
Give
he has
that
to go
man a
through-
promotion. Or woman, I'm sorry.
He's guy.
It's a guy, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Cameron.
That is a possibility. But the decreased number of students in this class just makes it a lot easier to have that individual learning too. Yeah,
Yeah, but it also kind of shows the decreasing interest in those classes. More people, like, I think there's like a common trend, a gradual trend going on in our school now. Like IB Math HL is dying.
IB Math HL is
HL is
dying.
like actually
Like,
no, if
you-
you pull
Maybe,
we have AAHL and AI now.
yeah. I think that will help to get more students back into HL Math, because more people are going into either pre-calc or the AP calculus ones, and most people didn't see math as like a subject to help their career, because most people here are already starting on careers. It made me so scared. I'm coming into 10th grade. These people have like figured out where they're gonna go, what grades they need, what classes they're going to take,
You're already
and
taking
I'm
your
stuck
SATs.
there. What am I gonna do tomorrow?
Guess we'll just be an engineer.
Be an engineer.
Yeah, just
It's not an insult to engineers, but it's just like a lot of people in this
A lot of
school
people are going.
are going to like engineering degrees.
yeah.
Not to mention the doctor side as well. Oh boy.
Yeah, so many people go to become a doctor, and I'm just thinking, like, not to be mean, but if all these people are going to become doctors, I don't know where they're going to be. Like, I don't see that many doctors,
God, this
and
Oh yeah.
Come on, guys.
How long it took?
I'm just wondering, because it's so competitive, and are these many doctors actually going to be in the field? Like,
see,
people-
see, here.
they're
If-
always good, but
If there's this huge supply of doctors and the demand remains the same, those employers will be able to choose their doctors more, and of course it's going to be more competitive.
I'm just waiting. Not to be mean, but I'm just looking out for the next Baymax. You know Baymax?
You mean the big guy?
The big guy.
The big guy?
Yeah.
How do you?
I feel like something like that would completely transform what people are striving for now in terms of careers.
transform my life.
Transform.
I'm gonna become the Baymax.
I'm going to become the Baymax, Nathan. Thank you for inspiring.
Or you could be the person that creates, that synthesizes the Baymax, invents it. It's
And then
alive. It's alive.
No, be the one that
It's a
invents
big marshmallow. What do you mean?
the one that
Create
invents the
Baymax?
nanobots. Baymax.
No, but it's like something like a Baymax could change what all our peers are striving towards. That doctor degree.
But do you think the demand is actually going to stay the same?
Yo, I have no idea about the job market. Okay.
That's scary, isn't it?
Huh?
That's scary, right?
What do
I
you
don't
mean
know
that's
about the job
scary?
market in the future.
Okay, well, I don't know much
You're a
about the
robot.
job
You're a
market.
robot.
The
You're a
job,
robot.
the job market in the I don't know, the science industry. Is that what you guys call it? I'm sorry, I don't take any
go
like
ahead, go ahead. I don't
you
think
know,
there's an exact name for that.
environmental science class. I take comp sci. I don't understand these weird terminology.
No, my dad had told me this, like, this called the exponential age and stuff, right? Right now, it's been called the exponential age because things are just
Oh, yeah,
growing
it's
so
booming
fast,
every day.
and like
Yeah.
we're
Revolutionary
making
discovery.
progress as like the Homo sapiens so
That
much,
is- that is-
so quickly.
that is true.
That is true.
Yeah, that who can imagine 10 years from now we may have a job that probably doesn't exist right now.
Yeah.
No?
Absolutely, and minimum wage will still remain the same.
There we go.
Let's not get-
Oh god, it's a rough moment, rough times. Anyhow, this seems like a good place to wrap it up. A good place,
depressing reality.
a good place to end. We hope you guys have enjoyed this pretty decently sized episode, and please share and
Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah,
for
thank
coming
you.
on us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a
Sorry
pleasure.
for devolving into
Baymax.
politics,
Anyhow.
but job market again.
I'm proud to be back.
anyhow, as Baymax says, tra la 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 la
La, 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 la.
goodbye.
Try not to do